Okay, everybody. Welcome back to the Life is Limitless podcast. My name is Cody Demerais, and I am your host. And today we have the privilege, we have the honor of having Mr. Tyler Hayden, a certified professional speaker, a Hall of Fame speaker, a great gentleman, a person that I've only known for maybe 6 months, but from the moment I had a phone call with him, we connected, and I knew he was a light to this world, to be honest. So
Thank you.
You're welcome, buddy. I want to do a short introduction to give you the proper welcome in for everybody who's listening or going to listen. Tyler is a Canadian Hall of Fame professional speaker, as I mentioned, but he's the author of 28 books, dozens of apps, and hundreds of games. To be honest, sounds like you have ADHD, just like myself.
I totally have ADHD, and the H is very capitalized.
I love it.
Yeah.
He travels internationally speaking to groups about having fun and getting the most out of life. Not only does he speak about living every single moment out of every single day, he is doing just that. From jumping off cliffs in the Swiss Alps to swimming with great white sharks in Australia, naked wilderness survival in Canada's north, driving 187 kilometers per hour in a real NASCAR, and flying loop-de-loops in a real acrobatic airplane. Tyler truly is living life at large.
Love it.
Tyler, my goodness, buddy. What an introduction, man.
Right?
I love that. You know what? I know we got a full, a full hour here today together.
Yeah,
and I want to make sure we give as many people as much beautiful knowledge and education as we possibly can today. And you're the man to help do that, Tyler. So thank you for being a part of this.
I'm so excited that you reached out. I'm so excited that that you're doing this, and I had the opportunity to listen to a couple of your podcasts, and I love the warmth and the content that you're delivering. Like it's content that makes a difference, and to each of your listeners, good on you for keep coming back and listening, because you're doing great things, and hopefully today will be a great thing too. If not, it can just be a really decent, okay thing, and we'll call that awesome. What do you say?
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Thanks, Tyler. Like I said, you got the energy to boot, man, and I can vibe with your energy. Yeah, right? So thanks, Tyler.
I love it. I love it.
So, Tyler, I want to get into some questions, buddy, because I know you're a man of wealth of knowledge, and I know a lot of other people are going to feel the same. Can you please, Mr. Tyler, tell us a little bit about your growing up experience?
Sure. So I'm 6'5", so I spent a lot of time growing. In fact, I had growing pains, as each one of us do, right? Like, I grew up. I was born to a family that moved out of Quebec, moved to Ontario during the FLQ crisis, which you can look at your history books to find out what that's all about. But moved to Ontario. I was born there. Grew up in like the Mennonite area of Ontario, so like farming and all that kind of stuff. My first gigs were picking rocks and strawberries and asparagus, and then went into like McDonald's and that kind of stuff. My dad was permanently disabled, so when I was in grade 2, so we slowed down life a little bit, moved out to the East Coast, which turned out to be the best thing that could have ever happened for me. We landed in the East Coast and went to high school in a small little community called Bridgewater, growing up in Mahone Bay and Lunenburg, which are very quintessential, very hallmark, beautiful little communities. And I've made a life out here ever since. So I was blessed to grow up kind of rural. I was blessed to be able to travel a bit, see a bit of the world growing up, and blessed to be able to have my father needing support the way he did, so that I could turn into whatever it is that I am today. So, because I mean, Cody, you understand this probably better than most, is that all of those things that happen in our lives, my buddy Peter Davidson calls it the gift of the hit. We all have those hits that kind of guide us to where we are today. I was a fat kid. I couldn't read till I was in grade 3. If we want to talk about all the other things that happened, I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. I've been on unemployment. I've been on welfare. like you name it, right? Like those are all I'm divorced. My parents were divorced. I have glasses. I got four eyes. You know, like all the things, right?
Yeah.
But all those hits that happen get us to where we are today, and lead us on our journey to be able to help others and to make a difference. So yeah.
Oh, amen, brother.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's, mic drop right there, actually.
All right, we're done. That's it. What?
Yeah.
We just
What do
started.
we got? 5 minutes. Okay, guys, that's it for this podcast episode. Man, I couldn't agree with you more, though.
Right.
Truly, what the experiences, the places we've been in our lives is what shapes us to be who we are going to be and how we reflect into this world.
100%.
And it's often our things that have been our biggest hurdles
Yep.
that become our biggest strong suits.
100%.
I was a person as well in grade one to be held back in elementary school for having a speech impediment. But now me and you both get the privilege and the honor to be professional speakers. So it's incredible, brother.
Isn't that funny? Like I had a lisp. Like I used to talk like this, and like who would have ever thought that the kid who has a lisp is in the Canadian Speaking Hall of Fame, right? Like who would have ever
Yes.
thought that, right? Or sitting on a TEDx stage, like why, like what? Right? And I think that all comes from like perspective, and it all comes from that authenticity going, you know what am I going to do with this? Right? Am I gonna in my TEDx, if you check out my TEDx, I have all these books, right? And they're heavy books. And a lot of people travel around holding on to like a whole encyclopedia series of weights in their life. Instead, I chose to look at them and say, what can I learn from this? I wrote an executive summary, and what can I learn from this thing? I can put the book down. I can take the summary. The summary fits in my pocket, and I can learn from the summary, and I can use that to help me to be better, more influential, more of a net gain to the world, right? And that's what it's
Beautiful.
about, right?
Beautiful.
Instead of letting those things hold you down, it's about putting the books back up on the bookshelf.
Oh, I love that, buddy. I love that. I had a very great conversation with a gentleman by the name of Stephen Langard. Have you ever had the privilege of chatting with him? He's out of Edmonton. He's a traveling national speaker as well. I think international speaker.
Cool.
But he's done some TED Talks, and I was asking for some assistance in that world because that's my next goal in my life.
Good for you.
And I told him a little bit about what I wanted the topic to be, of course, based on that. And he kind of shared a statement with me that I wrote on my whiteboard, actually, is that your stigma is your superpower. And that is the concept that I want to come from. Like I said, the ADHD thing, the speech impediment, being held back in school, having addictive personalities back in the day, to of course transform to where it is now, being addicted to being on stage.
Right. Yeah. It's transference, really, at the end of the day. We're just transferring that somewhere else, right?
You know what? You can't, for me, I've learned that you can't kind of let something go out of your life that's been such a strong part of your life unless you kind of trade it for something more powerful or more fulfilling, more connection.
Right.
Yeah. So when did you get into public speaking, Tyler? Please tell us.
Yeah, so I was always the class clown. I did my first speech I ever wrote was in grade 4, and I won a speaking competition. I wrote a thing about being a baby inside my mother's stomach. And I wrote it from the perspective of looking through her belly button. And it was like, I wish I still had it.
Low browser storage. It says you're not being recorded. Low browser storage. Is that my end? Or okay, but it says you're not being recorded. Actual recording. Oh no. If you still see a red dot, yeah. You know what, buddy? Do you mind if I just press pause for a moment? Okay. Need more streaming power. I wonder if that's a possibility with my plan that I have. I have a professional plan with Riverside here, so I don't know what's going on.
All right.
But for
that could be. Hang on.
I think we're still good, buddy, because last time when I hit record last time, it kind of skipped out on us and it said right away that you're not getting recorded. So whatever happened, I think we might be still good.
Okay. I am plugged into the internet, direct plug-in. So I think
beautiful.
I am. Yes, I still am somehow plugged in to the magic.
Okay. Well, for those who are listening, sorry about the technical difficulties. I have no
That's
idea what's
fun.
going on.
We were just talking about the gift of the hit, Cody. Like, this is real time
That's
technology going backwards and sideways, and we're just doing it. Whatever, it's all good.
This is basically a workshop on how to overcome technical difficulties, right? Yeah.
Right on. Yeah.
But anyway, where were we, Tyler? Please, you were sharing a story with us.
We were talking. What were we talking about? We were talking about. I don't remember what we were talking about. We were talking about.
When did you get into public speaking? And you were talking about the story from the perspective inside your mother's belly.
Right inside my mother's belly. That's it.
Belly button.
That's it. And, okay, so I'm in my mother's belly button. So rewind.
Yep.
You know, I was in grade 4. I did this show for my school, and I won the opportunity to go to like my regional finals. But then I got sick. And that was fine. And then, like, just through the years, things happened. I was always like a student leader kind of person. And I always just loved being on stage and sharing thoughts. And I ended up going to university, and I took rock climbing, hiking, and canoeing for 4 years, because you got to learn something if you go to school. And when I graduated, my dad, as I said earlier, was permanently disabled. So I wanted to stay in Nova Scotia and be able to help out. So I opened up like an outward bound company. And opening this outward bound style company, I was taking people rock climbing and canoeing and that kind of stuff. And what was interesting, I was making like $300 to take people out for the weekend. And then I got asked to go and speak at this high school because I started the largest student-run student leadership association in North America. And I figured I had some leadership clout. So I went. They gave me $300 to like do the stuff that used to get me kicked out of class, like for cracking jokes and stuff, and like telling stories and that kind of thing. And I was like, I just got the same amount of money to do something that I love to do. And I was like, I love this. And I'd seen a couple speakers growing up. So Mark Scharenbrock, who's probably one of the preeminent, like, most amazing speakers in the world from the US. He came to my high school in Ontario. And Alvin Law from out your way out west, he's a survivor of thalidomide, came to my high school. And I was like, you know, I think this is a thing. I think I could do this. Yeah. And so I got asked by Jostens, the Ring and Yearbook people, to come and do a couple shows in Ontario. So I did. My 3rd, 4th, and 5th shows were in Ontario. And that was 30 years ago. So 30 years, like I literally just fell into it. You know, I wanted to be able to stay home, to be able to help out my family. And I love the East Coast. Just wanted to stay here. And, you know, I was always open to whatever kind of came through the door. And this speaking thing just came through the door. And I'm like, yeah, I love this. This is like, I think I'm supposed to do this.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah. 30 years later, and you're still on the road. You're still doing your thing. A Hall of Fame speaker now. So let me ask you, buddy, let's just skip into that question. We can go back. But what is a Hall of Fame speaker with the CAPS Association? So please fill us in.
Yeah. So there's an industry of speakers around the world, and there's associations that represent them by country. So there's the NSA in the States, there's PSA, there's a bunch of them around the world. There's the GSF, which is the Global Speaking Federation. Canada has the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, CAPS, and it inducts 1 or 2 speakers, sometimes none, into the Hall of Fame. And the Hall of Fame is just a recognition of the speaking impact that you've had, the work that you've done, done, that kind of thing. The longevity in the business. We've got amazing speakers in there. I mean, Alvin Law, we've spoken about him a little bit. He's in there. We've got Orlando Bowden, Michelle Cederberg, just Stephanie Staples was put in this year. Just amazing speakers who have really made a difference in the community. So part of it is community give back. How do you help support speakers? Maybe with their Riverside podcast, maybe it's with helping, coaching, mentoring. It's that reach out that matters. So that's part of the equation. That's what it is, and it's one of the highest honors. It's the highest honor I've ever received in my life.
That's beautiful.
Having kids, so that's, I guess, another really great honor.
For sure. Well, it definitely stands the point for you to be able to receive that, because, like I said, so Kimberly Lyle actually said, who you should talk to after attending one of the mastermind groups in Calgary. I think it was last year. Yeah. She said, you and Tyler Hayden would probably hit it off.
Yeah, totally.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
So I got, we've had a quick conversation. I had you on Facebook, and within 5 minutes, you were helping me as much as you possibly were. And I humbly appreciated that, man. And we haven't chatted too much since then, but of course, we're living busy lives. You're on the East Coast and stuff, but we're having this conversation together today. So 100%. If I can be quite frankly honest, I looked into your career after we chatted a little bit before, and I was like, okay, this guy is the right where I want to reach one day. So
I love that. You know what? And I had those, and that's what this business is all about. What's great is it's such a collaborative business where, I had speakers when I was getting started. I mean, when I came to CAPS, I was the young guy. Right? Like, cause I was just almost fresh out of university, right? Nobody else was my age. And I was doing the business, and there were speakers that I looked up to, and who supported me, and Bob Urachuk, Joe Sharon, Susan Sweeney, Linda Edgecombe, like all these amazing speakers just freely gave me their time, their wisdom, their experience so that I could be better. It's my gift. That's what I'm supposed to give back. Whoever's like, whatever you do, you've been given all those opportunities. For those of you who are listening, you've been given all these opportunities, all these things. You have all of these skills, all of this to give back. Find somebody to give it back to.
Oh, I love that. One of my favorite quotes from Denzel Washington, and I heard on one of his speeches, is each one teach one.
Right.
When you reach where you're going, look back, turn around, pull somebody else up with you.
100%.
And I love that.
100%.
I've been gifted with amazing people in my life, like yourself included. Kimberly, my buddy Alan Kaler, who's became a big brother to me.
Yeah.
When I first started public speaking, I had no idea this is a career, quite frankly.
Right?
And then people came into my life, like Alan, somebody said the same thing basically about how me and you connected. You should talk to Alan.
Right.
And so I reached out to him. He became one of my best friends immediately. And he told me actually what was possible. Yeah. And then he's actually the one who told me what CAPS was in the first place. So I was like, okay, benchmark. I want to get there.
Yeah.
It took me a couple years to be a part of the association with CAPS as well, too. But when Mark Black messaged me and said, you know what, you're approved, man. Congratulations, basically.
Fabulous.
I was like, wow. I was this is something I wanted for 2 or 3 years. And for those who don't know, you have to reach a certain amount of engagements at a X amount of, per engagement or within a 12 months radius, basically.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
And for a couple years, I was just teetering. Right. And then as soon as I hit that threshold, I was like, wow. Okay,
but you know what cool. You did? You asked the question, you asked for support, you asked for help, right? Mm-hmm. And you were smart enough to listen to the people around you, and you were smart enough to say, you know what am I going to do? Right? Mm-hmm. Because too often we're like, well, who can help me? Who can help me do this? Well, they can give you kind of that's the door. But if you're not willing to walk through the door, if you're not willing to, grab the handle, if you're not willing to figure all of those things out, man, I can show you 1,000 doors, right? But you were smart enough, Cody, to be able to go, well, that's where I'm going to go, and this is what I'm going to do. So good on you.
I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah.
Great deal, man. That means a lot, just so you know. I want to ask, how many events do you think at your career over 30 years or so of professional speaking, how many events do you think you have publicly, done your job at?
So when I was speaking at ballpark, okay, first of all, I flunked math in grade 10. So let's just put that out there. So I'm going to do some mental math right now. I was doing about 120 high school presentations a year.
Whoa.
When I started. Yeah, it was crazy. So that was about 120. Yeah, now I do probably 40 to 50 a year. So we're slower. So higher value, but less frequency. I don't know. I've done thousands. I think we did a scratch math one day. We were looking for like a stat for a website. I think I've spoken to over 1 million people.
Whoa.
Which is just like right.
Incredible, brother.
Yeah, it's all the people who live in Nova Scotia. Basically, I've spoken to an entire province. That's what I've done, right?
I love that, man.
Yeah, we did the math based on schools were audiences were about this much, corporate audiences about this much, and then include like podcasts and all the other ways that we're reaching people. 28 books, like the opportunity, the different channels that you can create in this business to be able to reach people. I just launched or in the process of launching a new app with AI, and like it's going to give me a whole new way of reaching people. That's what it's all about.
Beautiful. You want to tell us a little bit about what that app's going to do?
Sure.
Or is that on a hush?
No. It's if you go to rubberchicken.ai, you can learn about it. Basically, I've taken my 30 years of consulting, and I've consulted with everyone from like Michelin and Subway and like international companies like that, publicly traded companies. And I've taken my knowledge, so from consulting, book writing, speeches, all that kind of stuff, and I've taught these 6 rubber chickens how to build teams and how to improve workplace culture. So there's 6 rubber chickens. Saul is our icebreaker rubber chicken. We've got Sage, which is our leadership development, multiple intelligence quotient, which is the theory that I use around how to connect people about learning preferences. Then we've got like Socrates, a runoff of Socrates. That's our debriefing chicken. It teaches you how to like ask questions, does coaching, that kind of stuff. We've got Trophy, which is our reward recognition and engage and appreciation. We've got Flash, is our engagement and energizer, and there's a 6th chicken that I'm forgetting. Anyway, we've got this flock of 6 chickens, and you can go through the tool and you can have conversation with it, just like talking to me, because it's only based on my information. It doesn't allow for looking at the rest of the World Wide Web. It's just my information. So it's all road tested, rubber to the road in like my stuff. And then we've built a tool that allows you to take that conversation and process reports that will give you like a leadership lesson plan. Oh, that's the other one. Loon, the leadership rubber chicken, or team building rubber chicken, does like team building events. And it'll actually like push out a report that you can email or print off. There's a community. Yeah, it's just kind of next level team building, next level engagement. I'm excited.
Man, as you're sharing that, I'm like, can I, I just need to go spend the rest of my day looking at this app.
I'll send you a link. You can be one of my beta testers if you want.
I would love to.
Yeah, super cool. We'll do that. Nobody else gets to be a beta tester. Just Cody. Cody.
Just part of the family. I appreciate that. Yeah, and then, when that app does come out, brother, what we're going to do, we're going to put that link also on the YouTube description. We're going to put it in the Spotify description. We'll make sure people see it when they watch this video, whenever that is. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing.
Yeah. I really want people to learn how to connect better. I think that's, my calling is that. That's what I do. I help businesses and people to be able to link together better, so that we have positive conversations, so that we learn about each other. We have better business outcomes as a result of more positive culture. That's it. Like that's what I've done for 30 years.
Well, that's incredible. And I think it's more needed than ever, truly, with technology and AI. Like we can either go one way or the other, And I've even found myself over the years, because of being in rooms and, speaking in front of thousands of people. Yeah. I used to be an extrovert, like a great deal through and through, like any community event, any activity, I was like, I want to be there. Yeah. Now, over the years, man, I think speaking in front of so many people, I think I also need that recharge time. But I've also realized a lot of people, whether it's social media, just the processing of, all these things that hit us with information overload all the time. Yeah. A lot of people have start to also recede in a little bit more, and they live a lot of times through a digital world sometimes compared to being an in-person world, you know.
Well, and what's happening now is we're starting to build all this AI, all these tools that are going to make it that we're, instead of working the 40-hour work week, we're going to be doing like a compressed 20-hour week, and that's going to be a full time. There's going to be a lot more time for luxe travel, for how we connect with one another, for interest, all that kind of thing. And the one thing that AI will never be able to do, in my opinion, and I guess you say never and then all of a sudden somebody figures out how to do it, but I don't think AI is going to build human connections. Right? I think you need a person to build the human connections with another person, because there's an energy transfer.
Yes.
And I think that AI, rubber chicken AI in particular, can help to facilitate making sure that they're laser focused, because as you said, people spend more time on their devices. They want things their way, like how they understand it. And that's what rubber chicken AI does, is it says, what's your preference? What's your team's preference? And then we come up with like a common through line, and we say, okay, well, this is the best way to reach this group of people, right? And that's increases the engagement. Anyway.
Well, I think no matter what, as time goes on, the more tools, the more abilities, the more connections that we have to keep human beings be connected with each other, that is an asset that is going to never go away for the value of it
100%.
Needing to be in this world.
100%.
And I commend you on that, brother. I truly do.
Thanks.
Actually.
Appreciate you.
Of course, man. Really big question I would love to ask. For anyone who's been wanting to follow the same path as a speaker, because this one's very on top of my mind, what kind of advice would you have for somebody to follow? Somebody like yourself, 30 years of speaking, thousands engagements, a million people connected with and reached into their lives. What's some of that advice?
So advice number one is make sure that you have an area of expertise. I think that we're talking a lot now about not necessarily university education, but like, what's your portfolio, right? What's your portfolio of experience? So entering into, there's not a lot of barrier of entry in the speaking world. You can just say, hey, I'm a speaker, right? And you can put up a website, build a one sheet, and next thing you know, you're selling gigs, right? I think that to be authentic in the business, you really have to follow that thing you have a depth of expertise for. There are a lot of speakers who get started and they'll get a telephone call and be like, hey, can you do this? Yeah, I can speak on that. Hey, can you do this? Yeah, I can speak on that.
Yeah.
You're not doing yourself a favor. Yeah, you made that mistake, right? and it doesn't help to build your brand, the business, any of those things. So making sure, number one, that you have the depth of experience in something. You don't have to be, Mensa level expertise, but you should have a considerable amount of understanding, and you should constantly be working to upgrade that knowledge, right? So you'll never reach your destination in this business. You'll reach the journey if you're doing it right. So that's number one. If you want to create longevity in the business, I was just having a conversation with one of my clients earlier today. We had a meeting. They've been with me for 25 years. And that's part of the secret of longevity in this business is you need to build a core group of clients that hire you year over year to cover your operational expenses.
That's very important.
Very important. So coming up and saying, maybe 4-H is your thing, or maybe you do a lot of work with Subway, whatever, like a specific corporation. And you price it so that they'll always come back, and you price it so that they get a bit of a preferred rate because of the volume that they buy. And they become a long-term asset that is always there. That's how I got one of the ways I got through COVID was having that core group of companies and organizations that continued to hire me.
Beautiful.
That becomes that. Those would be two pieces of advice. One is have good content, and the other is have really good relationships with the people that you work with, and try to hold on to them as long as you're able to positively serve each other.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's, energy transaction. It
Right.
needs to be on both ways. It can't be
100%.
one or the other, or else it's just the relationship, the connection, the presentation, just everything isn't as what it should be without that
Yeah.
energy exchange on
Yeah.
both fronts, right?
100%.
When
100%.
you serve your clients help repay you by your services, fees rendered, or whatever else it might
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Beautiful.
Or sometimes, I mean, I meet organizations where, the return on investment for me is just watching their clients succeed. Right.
Yeah. No, I
There's
love that.
different ways of metricing or monetizing what it is that you're doing. And,
Yeah.
and I'm never the richest guy in the room. I'm never the smartest guy in the room, but I sure as heck want to be the person that's giving the most.
I love that. Overgive.
Yeah.
And that is a trait that I've tried to pick up as well over the years. When I first got into business, kind of like trying to give the shirt off your back, literally as I sell clothing. Sometimes I've done it. I've done it. And I remember a reaction one time, somebody, of going the extra distance, and they just like looked at me and they're like, that's not normal for you to do this.
Right.
And I just felt so thankful for that support, that I want to overgive. I want to overserve, whatever it was. The appreciation for somebody to give your time, energy, whatever it is, to another human being is the two most precious resources another human being can give to
100%.
another human being.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's great advice, my man. Great advice. So, I would like to know on this question, sorry to be just rapidly hitting you.
Yeah, that's all good. That's all good.
I know 30 years of experience you can handle.
It's like a Gatling gun of information.
That's right. How many questions can I ask, Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. How about this?
Yeah.
Can you please tell us some life-changing advice that you have been told from somebody in your life, whether it's, 6 months ago, whether it's 20 years ago? What is a piece of advice that has been life-changing in your life?
My dad always said, so my show Live in Life Large, so my brand is Live in Life Large, Simple Actions That Create Success is the first book I wrote, little bestseller, and it's all about small town wisdom. And so there's all little chunks of information, exactly what you're asking. One that I'll give my dad props for was, Dad always said Rome wasn't built in a day. And it's a very common, I work with project management, that is like their value, like that's just that's their rally cry. Rome was built in a day means a lot to me, because I've been to Rome, I've seen how they've built it, and it's like one stone at a time, and no matter what it is that we're building in our lives, it's one stone at a time. It's one junk of wood. We used to heat our house with firewood. It was 5 cords required, laying down one junk of wood at a time in order to, cut, split, and stack 1 cord, 2 cord, 3 cord, 5 cord. And it's all about those one little pieces of things you can do. So whether you're looking at how to change your life, how to look at investing, how to look at getting healthy, how to look at anything, it's one more rep. It's one more dollar invested. It's one more hug. It's one more photograph with someone you love. Like, it's all the one little things. And eventually, if we stay consistent, then those things become, the Roman Empire, which eventually did fall, but whatever, we're not going to go there. But it's about the little things that you do that really make a massive difference. I was elected to government. I was a town councillor for town of Lunenburg. And, really the most important thing that I was able to do while elected was do little things for our community, whether it was, putting in a dog park, or whether it was, spending time and listening to community members with their concerns around noise or around snow removal. Like, all those things really matter. And again, it's the little things that we do that make a world of difference.
Yeah. That's a beautiful statement.
Yeah.
It sure is life-changing advice. I know just from my own personal experiences, anything that I've been able to do, in my lifetime, whatever it is, it's taken one step at a time.
Right.
I shared with somebody at the gym just the other day, there's not one thing that I can think of in the top of my mind that I started being absolutely great at. Like, not one thing in my life, like nothing.
Yeah.
Every single thing that I've ever started, whether it's a skill, a talent, an ability, public speaking, whatever it is, everything started completely brutal.
Yeah, absolutely. We suck
hard.
when we start, but at least we start.
That's right. And that is more important than, just the aspect of never starting, right? Like
Right.
fear has stopped so many dreams, unfortunately, just because the fear of failure, or fear, even sometimes fear of success.
Yep.
But, I have loved that analogy forever, that just one brick at a time, one brick at a time. Anybody who ever says they want to start a small business, in my ears just like a buzzer goes off, like, yeah,
Right.
let's talk about this. Let's talk about your small steps.
Yeah, I mean, every single company, look at like Amazon, look at whatever company, it all started in somebody's garage, right?
Yeah.
With a really cool idea. And,
Yeah.
my business, my line in the beginning was I had $300 in the bank. So I had $300, a dream, and the ability to achieve it. Like that was
I
it.
love that. I love that, buddy.
That's what people say. What are you doing? I got $300, dream, and ability to achieve it. That's what I'm doing.
That's big. That's big.
And it was enough. And it was enough. It was
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. Well, I love that analogy because especially I'm sharing my, my podcast with everyone and with yourself as well from my garage right now.
Yeah,
So we'll
right
see
on.
where life goes moving forward.
Right on. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. Can you please share a powerful story with us about you being on the road, some impact that was made, maybe a conversation that you may have had with either a past client, a past person in the audience, maybe just a past fellow speaker. I would love for us to hear a very powerful story if you have one on the top of your mind, which I'm sure you probably got 1,000.
Yeah. Cody, like I said, I started speaking in schools, right? Because I was the cool young kid. And it was funny because I was speaking and I was going from school to school, coast to coast to coast. And I was turned 30 and I did a show and this kid walked up to me and go, "Man, you're 30, you're old." And I was like, "Holy crap, I'm old at 30." So I was like, okay, well, I guess I better leave schools now, kind of like, do the Magic Johnson or the leave when you're still at the top of your game, right? So
I like that.
I'm like, so I left and I was like, oh, I'll go be the cool young guy in the corporate world. So I started, selling my services to the corporate world, started working with the CIBCs and the Intact Insurances of the world. And I had a friend of mine who has a very small school that they were principal of in a small seaside village called Shelburne, Nova Scotia. And he said, "Would you come and talk to the kids?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm 30, so I'm old. So, he's come." So I was like, all right. So I went down and I did my show and whatever. So I did my like high school, like life is good, living life large, grasp hold every single moment, every single day, youth show. And I knew that I wasn't going to do many more youth shows. Right. Anyway, fast forward a couple weeks later, I get a letter in the mail. This was back in the day when you could get letters in the mail because, Cody, I've been involved in this business for a really long time. And I'm opening up this letter with no return address. And it was from a child from that school who was going home to kill themselves that day. And they said the reason they didn't kill themselves is because they realized they could live life large and that there was so much more in their life. And at that moment, I was like, okay, screw it. I might be 30. I might be over the hill, but I have to keep talking to kids while I can, while they'll listen and make an impact. And I still work with youth I'm old now. I'm 52. I got a senior's discount yesterday at the drugstore. But I'm still I still trying to give that gift to young people as long as they can hear it. But to have someone tell me that they were going to kill themselves and decided not to because of something I said, that matters. And as long as I can create a little bit of an impact for even one person, that's worth my time.
Oh, I love that, brother.
Yeah.
I truly do, man. I started tearing up the moment you said that young person was, contemplating that.
Yeah.
Just because, I used to tell myself, if we can impact one person, I mean, isn't that like a career just worth living right there?
Is it?
But the truth is, it's, the more I kind of realize, like after running into people who've lost somebody or who's lost, somebody very close to themselves, it's never just one person. It's never just the one person, because that young kid is connected to his parents. He's connected to his brother or sister. He's connected to his cousins. He's connected to his friends. He's connected to that sixth grade, seventh grade class.
It's the ripple, right?
It's the ripple effect.
Yeah.
And that hits so hard, man, because, I don't know what it is. There's been multiple times in my life, even at the darkest moments in my life, which helped trigger it. But, even when life has been okay, there's been moments in my life that mental health I've struggled with, and it's
Yeah.
crossed my mind. Just even when life is being good.
Totally.
And I feel like there's a few folks in my family, unfortunately, that have had that, that thought or those trains of thoughts. And there's a time in my life where I've tried it. I tried to jump from a couch with something around my neck. And,
Right.
Just full disclosure to anybody listening to this podcast, of course, I'm still here, but, that young person's still here because of you. And man, at the end of the day, if you can receive a paycheck for doing what you're doing right now, that's a beautiful gift. But at the end of the day, that's the fuel that feeds the fire.
That's the other ways that we monetize this business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. This young person turned out to be I found out who they were. They met me at another conference and they told me their story. And I was able to learn and follow their life, and they've turned into an amazing government worker. They involve themselves in student leadership. They give back on a regular basis to their community. And that's all the stuff that would have been lost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Regardless of where you're sitting and how hard it is, there's value that you don't know that you've yet to deliver. And you have a purpose to get there.
Yeah. Right. I shared on social media just the other day a quote that Robin Williams was heard saying, about I think the saddest people in the world want to make everyone else happy because basically they know how it feels to be not feeling very good, basically, right?
Totally.
And maybe that young person became who he is because he wants to dearly take away pain in this world.
But going back, beautiful. Cody, to the idea of the gift of the hit, right? Like back to the idea that we all have these hits in our lives and it's okay, right? It's what we do with those hits, right? Yeah. I was sexually abused. I had a guy take away my parts of my youth, parts of the rest of my life, but that gave me an increased level of compassion for others, right? I couldn't read till I was in grade 3. Gave me the desire to be able to figure out how to write books and build things that people would want to read, 28 books later, right? Like all these things, no matter what that pain is that you're experiencing, that pain is going to give you the opportunity to do something amazing with if you look at it from the side.
I couldn't agree more, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. I know on my own perspective, man, I've told a fair few close friends this story, these stories. I've shared it on social media before, literally being in my mother's basement in a puddle of tears because I was coming down off of hard drugs and alcohol. Right. And now, I'm clean off of hard drugs for quite a few years. And I've made a recent decision where alcohol is no longer a role in my life, just at all. And it hasn't been a problem for years, but it's just something that I remember what it was like back then. And I want to be able to share that information with other people.
Good for you.
And I appreciate that. But man, the compassion you have for people who were walking the same road that you have walked, I think that is, this whole episode, it's been incredible. The 2 parts that I have to put together after this because of some technical difficulties. Oh man, I feel like this could help thousands of people. And I'm not just saying that, brother. Like Cheers. Honestly, I believe the common theme, there's a couple of them, of course, between our almost hour that we spent together. It's the, one brick at a time. And it's the every hit you take, is what makes you who you're going to be moving forward. And with those 2 pieces of advice, man, I think those alone, without hearing any other things that we said here today, I think those are life-changing for so many.
Yeah. I'm so thankful for what you do for others. And thank you for letting me be part of this.
Oh, it's been a joy, man. I wish we could do 20 other episodes. That's where my brain goes. But I know we're very busy, and we'll leave it at 1 and see how life goes and unfolds.
Call me back. I would love to chat with you again anytime.
Of course, man. I know. So, a big kind of idea that I had in my mind that I wanted to do 1 episode per week makes it very manageable, very consistent, very reasonable. But there's on the top of my head right now, there's a big need, big urge for me to clear a couple hours after we get off the phone here today or off the call and start editing and put it out today. So I think people need to hear this immediately because I think it's just so incredible. So
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm not leaving this till Monday or Tuesday. This is coming out today. Today's the day.
Today's the day. You know what? And I was talking to I was talking to a client today, and I said, there's one thing you always do when you go on stage is you go to talk. What she said is, I heard you do the same show 3 times in 3 days, and they were always different. And one of the things that I think a speaker can do is to kind of, I always pray before I go on stage, and I say, let me be open to what people need to hear. And let me be the conduit for what it is that others need to hear. And that's why my show's always different, right? Yeah. No matter which one you come to, it's different than the last one. And it's because someone in that audience needs to hear something, I think. And I'll all of a sudden I'll think about I'll have I'll think about something and I'll be like, oh, I should talk about that time when I was little and this happened. And I tell that story, or I connect in some way and I catch somebody's eyes and I go a little deeper and I give a little piece of advice. And those are the moments that you make great changes with.
Oh, man. Oh.
Anyway, sorry, I know we're out of time. I know
we're good. We're good. I promise.
You're trying to wrap it up, and I
no. I'm not trying. If I could take 10 hours of yours today, I'd gladly take them so that we could share it with the world.
I'm so sorry I took up more.
No, please don't be sorry, man. Yeah. Please don't be sorry, because you pulled that out of my heart right there, brother. Yeah. Like, honestly, I promise you that. Out of my mind, out of my heart, it's like that is what needed to be said today. Yeah. That's a perfect 1 minute clip that I'll be sharing also. So
cool. Awesome. We did something valuable today, Cody.
We did something valuable today.
You did reps because you were at the gym. You've done 2 valuable things.
That's right. And the next one's about putting this podcast on this world, out in the world, so that the rest of the world can take part in it. Beauty. But man, I just have to touch base on that. I couldn't agree with you more. So I come from an indigenous perspective, a little bit. So I believe in God. I believe in a higher power. I believe in Creator. I believe in a spiritual team. I'm a very big spiritual person. Yep. And I don't go to church every day. I don't do that kind of stuff, but I'm a very high believer of a higher power. Yep. And so every engagement I also do. I do a smudge, okay? Yep. And I ask the Creator to help me be a vessel for good today. And I ask to have the humor, the intellect, the wisdom, whatever I need today to help whoever's going to be in the audience today. And I couldn't agree with you more. I have had people come to hear me maybe like 5, 6 times at a different school, conferences, whatever in Saskatchewan, whether they're part of a certain organization and then they jump, or it's just different conferences at different communities. And I've had people come and tell me that they've heard me speak 5 times, 6 times, and that they've heard a different message each time that they've taken away from it.
You're doing it right, Cody.
Yeah, man. I'll be honest, I stumbled upon this life as well too. And it wasn't an easy transition into this life, because at first, when I first started public speaking, there was a lot of trauma coming out, and there wasn't a science or a education behind it. It was just venting and me trying to heal at the same time. Yeah. And now it's became something of that matter of like, okay, there's a science, there's, add this in here and add this story because that person wants to hear it or needs to hear it. And that is the magic of being able to do what we get to do in this world.
It's a gift.
It's a gift, brother.
It's a gift.
It's a gift.
It's a gift. It's funny. I am so, not to digress, but I'm a 6'5", 270 pound white fella. And but my background is in indigenous teaching, so I believe in the Creator. I believe in the Spirit that moves through all things, and I think that whether it's God, whether it's Allah, whatever it is, I think that spirituality is what that's bigger than us, that gives us the power to move forward. We don't have to understand the things that happen in our lives. What we have to understand is that there's a greater reason.
Yeah. And whatever happens in our lives is how we react to those things as well too, right? Take another hit in life and keep moving with it. Yeah. Well, Tyler, I know you have some soccer to get to.
I got family. I gotta go chase my daughter to soccer. So still doing it.
That's beautiful, brother, man. One man to another man. a person who values his family as much as you do, as I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful gift, and I appreciate you even more for that as well, too, man.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you and all of your listeners. So stay in touch, and I will look forward to watching your journey.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. I'm gonna hit you up when I need to hear some positive energy once in a while from Mr. Tyler Hayden, the Hall of Fame speaker.
I got you. We family.
I love that, buddy.
I got you.
I greatly appreciate that. And so for everyone who's listened to this podcast, once again, apologies for the technical difficulties, but we'll make it work because this episode needs to be seen. Both parts will be joined together so that you can have a full hour of Mr. Tyler and all his wisdom and all his glory. I want to thank each and every single one of you who is going to be listening to this podcast and sharing the two most precious resources another human being can share with another. And that is your time. That is your energy. My name is Cody Demerais, and we had the privilege of hearing the great Hall of Fame speaker, Mr. Tyler Hayden. Tyler, thank you very much, brother.
Cheers. I appreciate you.
You too, buddy. Okay. Bye, everybody.